Welcome to Gen 365 podcast. This is an initiative of Beyond the Veil Mission. And this is a podcast for the community to empower a generation of healing and hope 365 days of the year. Before we begin, I want to remind you the meaning of humanity or Ubuntu. I am because you are. I am because we are. Therefore, to create a safe and brave space for all of us, we must remember that my healing is as good as my community healing. This is a podcast for everyone who loves the community. If you are listening to this new episode, I want you to remember that we see you and you matter. Welcome.
Great. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Gen 365 podcast. My name is Kevine, and I'm here with the host, Lydia. Welcome back.
Thank you,
this
Kevine.
time, I would love to dig in a little bit more on who you are. I feel like last time we talked about a lot about the podcast and Beyond the Veil, which was amazing. But can you tell us a little bit more of who is Lydia outside of work?
Yes, excellent. Yeah, I think, you're right. Last time we talked about more like, practical things. What is the podcast? And today is about getting to know me as Lydia, the main host of this podcast. Yeah. First of all, my last name is Nimbesha. I think I will start with that name because I spent so many years hating my last name, Nimbesha. And, I really hated that name because it means, actually, based on what I heard, my name was longer than that. My name was Nimbesha Hombanenande. And after the genocide, I did not remember my last name. So I remember the first maybe 2 years of my primary elementary school, I'll be like, my name is Nimbesha. Then my auntie told me it's like Nimbesha also. Yeah, right now my official name is Nimbesha. Those are the result of the genocide. So it's one of those. So Nimbesha means if I survive. My name technically meant if I survive, who will I live with? I think if I try to translate that well, and I think that was really actually the meaning of my entire life. I think surviving the genocide, living in different homes from family members. Some want you, then they send you to other places, then ending up raising ourselves. Then it's a life of survival. And I hated my name for a long time because I was like, maybe this is what bringing a curse to my life. But at some point, I think when I started the journey of healing through therapy and support, I recognized that actually my strength was being a survivor. My power was being a survivor. The fact that, I was able to survive at 6 years old out of over 1 million of Tutsis being killed in about 3 months. I think that's power and that's something I carry. That's the strength that helped me to go through every single day. So now I'm so proud of my name. So who I am really outside of my work, first I said that I'm a survivor. I am a survivor, very proud of that. And many people years ago used to know me as Apolline, but now I present myself as Lydia. So I think the way of really deciding who I should be called, that's a part of healing. That's a part of really owning my space, deciding how I want to be called and what suits me, what present me more. So this is Lydia Nimbesha, and I am a mom of 3. So I love my beautiful boys, and they have an amazing auntie that we're here with together today, Kevine, who is interviewing me. I really have an amazing, loving family. I think, my biggest achievement is me as a mom and a survivor. And I'm also professional way. I'm also a student. This is my last semester in the Masters of Divinity Clinical Counseling. So I'm working to become a future psychotherapist, and what is, I also work in the patient support programs. I really help patient in my line of work. I work with patient managing in the management area. The other way, I really am a founder of a nonprofit organization which published this podcast called Beyond the Top Mission to help Rwandans really learn ways to take care of their mental well-being. We have organization in Canada, then also in Rwanda. Yes, really, and the big part of my life is teaching stories or any way I can share education that inspire hope. I think my biggest calling is to use education to really inspire hope. I think and I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm beautiful.
Yes, I was gonna say that. You're actually a wonderful friend, I have to say. I remember when I was younger, I used to be so much inspired by how much your friends were more like your sisters. So it inspired me to carry on friendships that lasted almost forever. I feel like it's a family thing to just have friends that stay with you. I mean, since we're children up today, actually, your friends, I know them. They're actually, some of them are my friends, and also my friends, like, close to you. And I don't even think that I have that relationship with my friends' families, but when our friends come in our family, they become a little bit part of our, people think they're our cousins or something, but that's something that I really got from you. And I thought, wow, that's so beautiful. When I was so young and you guys were like teenagers then, I was like, wow, I can't wait to grow up so that I can have these friendships. And from then I learned to form really meaningful relationships. So you're such a wonderful friend, such a wonderful sister. I love how you love yourself. Beauty is so important to you. Recently, remember when you were coming together, I was like, because I never did anything around beauty whatsoever, especially, I mean, yeah, nothing. I'm not even gonna lie. Nothing. I just didn't care. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting into beauty routines right now. Can you get me startup kits? And you got me like a whole box. I didn't even know where to put it. So now I'm kind of tapping into it as well. So those are things that I really learn from you on a daily, and also you being a wonderful mom. It teaches me. I'm like, at some point, I'm like, should I raise my kids if I ever have them, or should I give them to you? I have two options: either learning from you so that I can be a good mom, or sending them to you. So, yeah. Thank you so much for opening up to us and giving us more information of who you are.
Thank you.
And one question that is really, I think I would love to know, and so many other people would love to know, if you had to ask two things and give two things in return to your younger self, what would they be, and why? Why is a little bit a bigger question, but yeah, if you can add the why, but what would be those two things that you would?
Oh my God. Yeah. Two things. The first thing would be, to give. First is to ask. OMG, those questions. Whew. Oh my God. Asking my younger self. I think I'm tapping into my emotions, because I think those questions always bring so much memories. I think one thing that I can ask is being fearless. Because I remember there is this time of my life when I was a child, and I was always running around, playing with boys, jumping, flipping, and all of that. And they would beat me up so bad, because their presentation was, I will use a Kinyarwanda word, inshinzi, right? My Rwandan people come over, because I remember playing soccer. When we used to live at the orphanage, I think I would just play free, run around, and I wanted actually to sit like boys, not closing my legs. Like, there's a time where I felt like, I feel like, I wanted to be, just be in those space. I'm a girl, but I want to be here. So I think one thing that I can ask my childhood would be like, give me back that fearless that you had in that time. The society shut down that fearless gift in me, but that's one of the things that I can really ask. The second thing would be really my family. My family, if I have to go back and ask my younger self, I'll be like, I need to be surrounded with my siblings, my parents together, because that's one thing that I need. If I have the power, the superpower, that's something I can really recreate and really see how it feels like. Two things in return to your younger self. I think this question is a little bit challenging. Two things to give in return. I think one would be protection, because I think a big part of my younger self, I was not protected. And I think even claiming myself, my name, owning the space to try to tell the world, this is who I am, don't tell me anything else. I think it is rooted from the trauma that I experienced, a big part of my childhood, and actually as a grown-up person, a big part. And one of the things I can really give in return will be really protect that little girl at any cost. And maybe the second thing I can give in return, if I have the power, is money. Yeah, because I think really I learned so much in ways that we can really support our community. I think I'm really inspired in the idea that justice is reparation. We cannot talk about justice without reparation, and we cannot do reparation without money. So I think, when we have means, does not matter you are a child. In this space, we're talking about my younger self as a little girl. I think having the means I have a space, safe space, even having a safe shelter, having, a food, having all the materials that you need. I remember going to school as a little girl. You don't even have a pen. You don't have so many things. And that goes back to the economic issues or financial support, the lack of financial support. So always waiting for someone to come to save you, give something. If I have to give something in return to my younger self, I understand, raising a child is a community work. But, I really need to give that girl really financial needs that she needs, so she doesn't walk around begging or waiting for someone to come buy the notebook for her or get a pen for her, because it came with so much shame and so much pain that really change you as an adult, where you work every single day, be like, I want to be independent, so I don't want to go back to that little girl to ask. So I would really give financial, simple money to that little girl, so she doesn't have to be violated waiting for people giving her whatever she needs. Thanks.
You know what you're saying is resonated with me, because I remember I grew up thinking that if you come in like me and say, I'm going to help you, I started building this wall where if anybody says I'm coming to help you, it's a red flag, and that person became immediately my enemy because of so many people telling you I'm gonna help and they never come through, and it becomes more of, okay, now since everybody who says they're going to do it, then let me just find a way to be on my own and all, so that you kind of build protection. So there are three things that I heard from your answer was protection that you would give to the little girl, protection and safety. There's love, and there's also support. It's all kind of revolves on one thing really, which is like really a system of support.
Yes.
Do you feel like you're giving that to your children today as a reparation method to your little self?
Oh my God. I think really raising children and having self-awareness every single day, realize that it's a healing day, and it's like, healing your your younger self, through raising your children. Yeah, you are so right. As I see my kids, go through different challenges in life, needs and wants and all of that. Every time I really respond to their needs, I'm like, I'm glad that I'm here. I remember when my oldest son, Gary, turned 6, I was so scared. I was like, my parent died when I was 6. I went through a moment, what if I die? So things like that. So every single day I am with them, I have learned to recognize that. And we actually have like genuine conversation with my kids. I really use that moment even to be like, if I am to go today, that will not really my intentions, raising them and doing my best as an imperfect mother to give them really the possible that I can to them, so they can really know, go through what I went through. And one thing that I can add to those questions that we were talking about is that, even the need to feel like you have to do something for someone because it is something for you. It's like, and I'm so glad this healing journey, I remember most of the time, if your friend gives you a gift, to feel like, oh my God, I have to get a gift to the next birthday. So it took me, or maybe, if someone did something for you, feel like, I owe you something because you did something for me. So I think a way of healing my younger self, or giving back, is recognizing that right now there are people who can love me, and I owe them nothing for loving me. And when I love them, they're not expecting, there's nothing else. It's just love there. If my siblings, anyone, even my children, when they show me love and that's genuine, I don't have to do anything in return.
Oh, absolutely. And you're a great mom. I can testify to that, because
Thank you.
when you guys were in my house, I was just like, guys, can you leave your mom alone? Because they just think, they look at you as if you are Batman or Superman or something bigger than I look at you as my sister, but they look at you as someone bigger than what we think, and that's incredible. It shows how much you have done, how much work you have put in raising the 3 amazing boys. So
thank you.
Kudos to that. And so, speaking of being a superhero, what is giving you the energy to wake up and start your day currently?
Girl, I think it's raising these 3 human beings, okay?
I knew it.
I think I am being honest. There are days I'm like, can you leave me alone? But then I'm like, you know what? I'm so grateful that I have something to wake up to. It's like something pushing you to wake up. Because I remember our sister Lucy, I remember there's this time she said, I want to have a child. And I was like, is this a good time? But now I understand what she meant. Really having a child. Oh, girl, it makes you wake up. I think recently I went through a season, and I think I shared that with you. I was like, I need 2 days to be depressed, really. Like, go down, close the door, don't wake up, cry, maybe eat in my room, nobody talk to me, leave me alone. But then I have 3 human beings. I have to wake up. Then before I was like, this is not a good thing. But then I was like, this is a good thing. Because I have something that help me to wake up. Go outside to walk, work out, eat, cook for them, serve them, and also recognize that as I'm raising my kids, having this opportunity to have a house or a shelter to have my kids, raising my kids to, or, do all the things for them. Then I'm like, there are other fellow survivors who don't have this opportunity. Then girl, wake up, do something so you can really, share your gift with the world, so that somebody else who don't have this opportunity be able to access that. As a survivor, I'm reminded every single day that every single thing that I have, honestly, it's like a bonus of life. It's like a blessing. It's like Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful every single moment. Even I'm gonna tell you, even eating food, when we tell people like this, that people who don't have that experience, but knowing that I can eat lunch, dinner, breakfast, there's some years in my life I didn't have that privilege. So when I'm really having my children encouraging me every single day as I raise them, I think it really did inspire every other aspect of my life. Even sometimes when my kids are talking about my work, you are right. They think that mom is like something. I'm like, oh, you don't understand. I think we have these cars that we pray home, about processing our emotions. And they were like, mom, we like how you are a very person who are so like you have determination to do what you want, but deep inside I'm like, that's not me, but however how your kids look at you, really those are the things that make me wake up every single day, be like, I'm really doing my best so my boys can grow up in a world knowing that there is support, there is family there, they have options. So yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Um, Having a purpose, that's what I understood, and being able to execute because of the reasons why you exist. And I feel like your children are actually a big part of why you wake up in the morning, but also the organization that you created, the family that you have around you, your friends are also a big part of, and your community of survivors that you care about so much. They're also part of the reason why you wake up every morning, take a shower, work out, cook, and exist and live your life at some point. Well, at all points, throughout all the points you're living your life. So that's amazing. So I'm curious, what is that one question? I think this is one of the last few questions that I'm gonna ask, and I would love really to know, what is that one question that you wish people would ask you more? Not, I wouldn't say more often, but a little bit more with carefulness, with love, with attentiveness. What is that one question that you wish that you would be able to respond so much more genuinely to? Maybe because of the person who's asking that question and how they're asking that question.
Yeah, it's a very awkward question. I think genuinely, I wish some people ask me often, what are your thoughts? When I say this, it's because, first of all, I'm a very opinionated person, and I think I got that from my family. So, and I think often, people ask questions, but they already have answers. And it's so difficult. That's why most of the time our voices are not heard. And I really feel so discouraged. Sometimes people pop up questions, but they're like, whatever you respond, it better be this answer. Like they're expecting really exactly the answer. And I think that's why we have so many divisions, because we don't respect each other's perspectives and how we see things and how we see life. And I often really like to express my thought in a way that I feel, in a way that I really think is the right way to me. And actually, I was close to naming this podcast My Truth, because I think over the time, I think over the time I struggled with people not really understanding or really assuming what are my thoughts, what should be what I think about different issues, and using my voice, or anyone who worked in the place where you have to use your voice. We go through that challenge. And I think that question, genuinely, someone asking you, what are your thoughts? What do you think about this? And if it is a genuine question, I would love to hear that question often, so I can know that someone who is listening, or someone that I'm answering to, they're really willing to understand my truth or my answer, without judging or jumping on me or just trying to bring different perspectives to prove me how wrong I am. Because I think I spent so much time, in my years proving myself. And I think as I heal, as I encourage this healing community, this podcast healing community, I want people really to share if someone comes here and this is how they see their healing journey or they see their truth. This is how they see it. I have no right to try to correct them or tell them, oh, this should be the right way. I want them to come here and be like, this is the space. So the same question that I wish. And I want everyone to know that this is what I need to really, the experience I want listeners to have when they hear this, they listen from this podcast. And before we continue, I need to ask you the same question. Is that okay?
I know it's a very interesting question. For me is how are you? The question how are you usually is just asked often, but it's very not many times people ask you because they really want to know how you're doing, but because it's just a formality, which is super nice actually to ask somebody how they are that particular moment. I feel like it's more like, oh, I'm okay, I'm not sick. But I wish somebody would ask me that question more often, with carefulness and attention and wanting to really know how I'm doing, so that I can just be like, you know what, I'm not doing very well right now. There are things that are not going well, and so I would love to tell you everything. And it's tough. It's hard to get to those people because they're also going through so much. And so when you have that person in your life and you every once in a while there is that question, you should consider yourself very lucky.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to hear that because there's always like, hi, Han. And sometimes it's so awkward. It's like, I'm good. It's
seriously, recently I was in a gym and this person that I know just came to me and I was working out really hard and they're like, hi. I'm like, hi, how are you doing? They're like, I'm good, because they were just getting in and I'm just like in pain. They're like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing great. I feel like I just wanted, and you were just lifting weight or something, and I just wish that I was able to say, I'm actually in so much pain right now. It's so tough, but I couldn't. I just said, I'm doing great. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes with emotions, empathy, how those questions are asked. Even speaking of that, I think even when people ask you, or let me know if you need help, or let me know if there's anything I can do, I'm always like, I'm not going to let you know. Because I'm like, what do you mean? Let me know if there's anything. Can you give me $1 million? Can you take me to massage? Can you come clean my house? Like, be specific. I think this is what we're trying to be here. Be genuine, as we show empathy, because empathy can be verbal, facial expressions, how we talk, even within our voice. When I talk to you, I can, sense your empathy. So I think, it's learning. And as you say that, even I'm evaluating most of the time, when I chat with my friends, I'm like, hi, Han. So I think we have to learn to change the way we ask people so we can connect and hear from them, or they can hear from us.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. And finally, I would love to know, what is one thing you'd like to tell the person who will be coming back every 2 weeks? I know I'll be coming back, so that will be me and many other people. What is it that we should be expecting for every new Gen 365 podcast? What would they look forward to right now?
Yeah, first of all, this is going to be a very diverse conversation. That means you're gonna have new conversation changing, but with really with the same goal to really connect Rwandan stories to other cultures, connect with them. So professional wise, usual life, we're gonna be bringing different stories. survivors, professionals, political, all the stories, but with the main goal. We want people to live encouraged with hope. So I think there is a need for hope. Honestly speaking, when we even open Instagram in the morning, Twitter, we always shopping for is there any good news? But most of the time there's what's the drama today? But we're building a community, a generation of hope, a community that inspire hope. And, with all of that, we've got all the chaos, everything happening. This is a space for hope. This is a space to be encouraged. And this is a space to be heard. No judgment, really knowing that when you listen, and one thing is that you're gonna see yourself through these stories. As the main host, I think most of my friends know, even as a little girl, I wanted to be a journalist. I think when I was younger, but growing up, I was like, my voice need to be in public settings because I really connect with people from talking, sharing real life stories. I don't want to share information that are more like, oh, what are the symptoms, A, B, C, D, those theories and that tough concept. I want real life conversations. So when you hear from here, when you listen to this podcast, it's going to be real. It's going to be inspiring. It's going to be fun. It's going to be those moments where you wake up, be like, I feel like I just don't want to do anything, or I feel like I'm inspired. So I feel like, this space really, I want it to be home. I want it to be home to listeners when you are in your car listening to something or cooking or whatever. Just know that you are not alone. There's somebody like you. There's somebody who share the same flaws, imperfection, and courageous or resilient or waking up no, it's not working. So real stories, honestly, but also in different aspect of life, professional, non-professional, political, economic. We're going to tap into those stories because taking care of our mental well-being really, all the other area have to work. From socioeconomic support to all the areas, we have to tap into that because really taking care of our mental well-being is not just telling people go to therapy or something. We have to look into different services, resources that can support that. And we're going to be sharing those tools here, how we can really build and encourage each other through these conversations.
Great. This is amazing. I'm looking forward to the next episodes, and I'm inviting honestly everyone who's looking forward to learn, understand, support the different communities, and also be part of the solution, be a problem solver. Because here, what I feel like Gen 365 is trying to do is to put together different people who have solutions, people who need solutions, so that connecting them, creating a bridge between those two, so that if I understand very well, so that they can be able to live and improve their livelihood in different ways, whether it's health, education, living in general. Living is, sometimes we forget, just living and existing in the world where we just meant to work and survive. Basically more from just survival to living. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
And also I hope to see the next 100th podcast.
That's it for the week. We hope you gathered your dose of resilience for the week ahead. Follow Gen 365 podcast to know when the next episode comes up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or Google Podcasts. Share with your friends, community, and family, and do not also forget to follow and share feedback or questions on our community organization social media at Beyond the Veil Mission on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Or learn more about our work via our website at www.beyondtheveilmission.com. In the spirit of building resourceful, stronger communities, We can also help your community or business or organization to share your news and event on our podcast. Please email us for collaboration at podcastgen365@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.